So I guess we're gonna start the stream off with I will read Oh Whoa, What's This? A Guide to the Furry Fandom by Avery Miller.
Alright, we're starting right now.
Mm-hmm. Alright.
Wow.
This is the first edition.
Wow.
Great.
Is this signed?
It's not. Signed. This book just came out too. It came out I think it was really in the last few months or so. This book will go into public domain on September 25th, 2028. So it came out in September or October. Okay, here we go. How to use this book. Oh, whoa. What's this? Oh, is someone reading this book? What? Ooh, rolls around.
I don't know if I can do this.
Now that I have that out of my system, hello there. My name is Avery, and I will be walking you through the fuzzy and weird world of the furry fandom. However, before we can get down to it, you need to know how to navigate this book properly.
Oh boy.
While I will be covering the very basics of furries, I do assume you know how to read. This may seem counterintuitive, as werewolves are not known for their reading abilities, but trust me, reading is crucial. Throughout this book, you'll come across little notes just like this one. I'll show you what it looks like. It's like in red.
It's time to abort because you can't read.
These annotations will elaborate on the topics in the page, sometimes providing additional vocab or even links to stuff that you may find useful. This book is intended to be a parody of those For Dummy books you may see every so often. Plus, I make videos, more about that later. And I thought me making a book called Oh Whoa, What's This? Would be pretty amazing. Such goofy.
Oh my god.
Alright, here we go.
I don't like where this is going.
Chapter 1 or something.
Hit that bell icon.
What is a furry? Oh, whoa, what's this? It's a note. This book is completely SFW, meaning safe for work. Thank God. So we're only going to be covering the SFW topics. I'm not judging. We're just going to save the NSF stuff for another time. Follow me after dark if you're... Haha, JK. LOL. Okay.
I need to put my hood up for different
reasons. Turning back now, dude. I think I've clearly established that this manuscript was written mostly as a joke. A furry encyclopedia that you could buy for your parents, for example, so they can decode your strange Twitter ramblings, is like the funniest thing I can think of. But that doesn't mean this book isn't useful. This chapter is going to mostly be serious. Let's make this a productive thing. There's no greater way to start defining what a furry is than to dismiss what you currently may associate with the furry fandom. Degeneracy, pedophilia, and bestiality. I mean, that's me.
Oh boy.
There are plenty of misunderstandings among people. A furry can mostly be defined as someone who associates with an anthropomorphized animals. A great comparison I've seen is a really committed Star Wars fan. But instead of a movie, we're fans of a concept. The term furry can also refer to an anthro-animal character itself, instead of the person who designs the character. People who are furries typically have what's called a fursona. We'll go into that vocab in an upcoming chapter. Or their own original furry character. Often, this character is a sort of furry version of the person who made it. Other times, it's an alter ego. It depends on a case-to-case basis, but I think that covers the majority of furries. Some people dress up as their sona. Again, more on this later. While others choose to create art of their characters. That's the gist of it. That's all you need to know about furries in order for us to get started. Cringe factor. Some people seem to find furries cringy. The concept of someone pretending to be an animal is very foreign to everyone at the beginning. The point I'd like to make here is that many think that furries don't have a self-awareness of this cringiness. And I just want to clear the airways and confirm that we do. We just love furrying so much that we ignore it. Think about it. I think that's a good start. So let's get down to business.
Oh, God.
What is an Avery? Of course! I'm sure you're wondering, who is this Very Miller? Why are they so Very Miller? Good question. It's a common mistake, as Avery is actually my name. I know. Strange, huh? Anyways, as previously established, my name is Avery Miller. I'm a youth that makes videos for the intranets.
Oh, fuck.
One day, I was bored and thinking about what I should make my next video about. And the concept of creating a book sounded pretty cool to me. A book about furries is just such a blending of mediums, internet culture, and a physical manuscript. Sign me up. Also, I've always wanted to write a book. And why not make my first book about something that I'll regret making in 10 years? I try not to regret anything, but I'll probably still be somewhat embarrassed. Hopefully not, though. Fingers crossed. Important furry vocab. The furry fandom is a very tight-knit community, and like many communities, it has vocabulary. I feel that an understanding of this vocab is important in order to fully experience the experience of the furry experience.
Fucking hell.
All right. Following is a list I've compiled of various terms and phrases that I have defined to the best of my abilities. Something here. When a word or a phrase is surrounded by asterisks,
Oh my God.
it typically symbolizes action. For example, if I say rolls around,
He
it
spelled that
means
wrong.
Where?
Rolls around is 2 L's instead of L-E.
I don't know.
Jesus fucking book.
Yeah, there's actually a few spelling mistakes in here I've noticed already. Nobody proofread this. It means that I'm rolling around. Sometimes asterisks are just used for emphasis, but like just that just happens in English normally. For example, again, rolls around. Blep. A lot of furry-related words are rather abstract, and this is one of them. It's hard to describe. I think I'd say this is the sound someone makes when they stick their tongue out. However, it's typically used whenever. Like seriously, there is typically no rhyme or reason for when to use reason to when this is used. For example, hi.
Blep.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, good, there's pictures. Fursuit.
Oh hell.
Sometimes someone wears something someone wears to become fuzzy wuzzy ooh woo rubs. Let me elaborate on that. A fursuit is a costume someone wears that makes them look like their fursona. It's often mascot-like, only cuter. Or, yeah, no, cuter, yeah. Or disgusting.
You're making this book worse somehow.
They are famously expensive, but like worth it, or so I've been told. It is not necessary to have a suit in order to be a furry. For example, look at that adorbs fursuit. Partial. As I just mentioned, fursuits are expensive and quite often a pain to put on, so some people choose only to wear a fursuit head. For example, I have a partial fursuit. This is an image of, I don't know how to pronounce this, something strawberry in its natural habit.
Where?
Notice the body pillows. Phats. Alright. Phats are fursuit paws that are rather large and fluffy. And floofy. You know them when you see them. For example, haha, nice phats. Here's an example. Oh, whoa, what's this? It's a note. I made a video about some fat paws I bought. Scan this QR code to pull up a search page for that video. And then he provided a QR code in there. Nice. Paw beans. In the provided picture of my phats, you can see multicolored paw pads. These are known as paw beans. This is because they are on paws and they look like beans.
Wow.
There you go. For example, I'd love to be a paw bean. Why would you want
These fucking examples.
Boop. A boop is when someone taps on your nose, often done to someone when they are wearing a fursuit. Consensually, mind you.
That's not what a boop is.
Don't go whacking people in the face. Most people don't like it. Additionally, boopy is the person getting booped, and booper refers to the appendage that one uses to boop the boopy, or simply the person who does the boop. For example, I booped the boopy. Heh. Fursona. I've already talked about this previously, but I feel that it is important enough to the fandom for it to be repeated. A fursona is like a custom furry character that is often a furry version or an alter ego of a person. However, this depends on a case-to-case basis. For example, love your fursona, uwu. Insert word here, boy. B-O-I, by the way. Sometimes one will see boy used after a descriptive word or phrase. Someone could say clicky boy to refer to some object that clicks, like a mouse or a pencil. Elaborating further, one could refer to a rainbow as a color boy. It's important to note that this is gender neutral. For example, look at that green boy. Papu fur. This typically is used to refer to a furry who has a large social media following. Occasionally, I've seen it used as an insult to suggest someone who has an inflated ego, but also simply quantitate someone's popularity. For example, Jack Films is a papu fur. Papu fur. Okay. :3 uwu or x3. :3 and other similar emojis are just that, emojis. I've had too many confusing experiences with people who weren't aware of internet emojis. Once, an x3 emoji was confused with ×3. This typically leads to awkward conversations, so be sure to make your audience... be sure to make sure your audience is fuzzy enough to understand this secret furry language. For example, uwu, ;3. Whoa, there you go. Those vocab words are all you need to understand most furry conversations. Obviously, there are more terms that don't come to mind at the moment, but these are necessarily the basics. Up next, we're going to be talking about a very prevalent part of the fandom, art.
I don't know how much more of this I can take.
We're more than halfway done. Furry art.
There's a lot of math going on in the chat.
One of the most prevalent parts of the furry fandom is furry art. It's an art with someone's sona in it, and it is often very fun to hire an artist to draw your character. Of course, you can draw your own art, but now and again it's fun to see someone else take on your fursona. Before we go into specific types of art you can get commissioned, I'd like to walk you through the progress of getting a commission. Process of getting commission. I've made a video about this before. You know, cross promo here. I don't want to seem like I'm referring you to some other place all the time instead of explaining stuff myself. But I mean, this is so... If you want more details, you can check that video out. Mostly because paying an artist to make a drawing for you may be a little nerve-wracking at first. The note now is I made a video about how to get a commission a while back. Scan this QR code to pull up the video search, blah, blah, blah.
Oh my god.
Here's a crucial tip for people looking to get commissions. Please do not ask for a free drawing. People asking for free art and then complaining when artists say no is a pretty famous meme. Good meme. If you've thought about doing this, it's okay. You can redeem yourself. You know, everyone does silly stuff. Monies are hard to come by. But just be sure to cease and desist that ASAP. It creates a really awkward situation for the artist. Art is a skill that requires a lot of practice and time to execute, and artists are just trying to make an honest living.
Yep.
Holy fucking Christ.
That's something.
Of course, the most important part of a commission, in my mind, is finding the artist to create the art. I typically look on Twitter or other social media sites to locate a talented individual who is willing to take commissions. Another way to go about this is by looking at who has made art for other furries. Maybe you'll find someone with a style you enjoy. This is a fantastic way to start. I think we should define different types of art you can get commissioned before we continue. Sketches. A sketch is a sort of quick and dirty drawing that is often less detailed than a finalized commission. I think most people would be surprised to see how much detail sketches often have. If I commissioned a sketch from an artist, it would probably take me several days to draw something so good myself. Well, they pull it off in just a couple of minutes. A sketch of one Gookie boy.
It's not gooky.
I don't know if you can see it. It's like the white balance is like way blown up.
Guys, what do you think gooky is?
You can sort of see.
Somebody spell that out in the chat.
That's disgusting, that photo.
That's not how you spell it, because that's not the word.
Busts/headshots. When I get a new piece of art, the first thing I want to do is show it off. And one of the best ways for a youth, such as myself, to do that is by setting the commission as my social media profile picture. Often artists offer commissions that have been optimized for use as online avatars. These are known as busts or headshots. Headshots are drawings that are typically from the shoulder up to the top of the character. From the shoulders up to the top of the character.
Is it really telling us what a headshot looks like for a picture? Because I feel like that's a universally known fact. Okay, before you go any further, it was spelled Gucci. Gucci.
Gookie. Of course, these don't have to be used as profile pictures. Really, any type of art could be, but it's pretty major use. It's a pretty major use case I've seen. Full body. Excuse me. Full body art is just that, a full body drawing of your character. These are often more expensive than a bust or a sketch because of the extra detail that goes into the drawing. The benefits of a full body drawing often make it worth the price. The finished product can be used as a reference image for future commissions, and if you decide to use it as an online profile picture, you'll have a lot more options on how to crop the image. Ref sheets. If you're planning on getting a suit made at some point or purchasing a lot of commissions, you should totally look into a reference sheet. A reference sheet is a collection of drawings depicting one's persona from different angles and views in order to fully get across your persona's physical appearance. Does that make sense? Point is, it's a thingy to show how your lil boopy bud looks. Like a full-body commission, ref sheets are often more expensive than busts or sketches because of the extensive details and how multiple drawings are included in the single commission. Chibi. The word chibi supposedly means small in Japanese and is a pretty accurate description of the style. A chibi is a type of drawing that is typically less detailed and very stylized. It truly depends on the specific artist who is making the drawing. I think that it's a pretty good basis to understand what a chibi is. I think that's a pretty good basis. Alright, so here's another photo of a chibi. It's really hard to see on here.
That's because it's not on auto right now.
It's like blown up.
Yeah.
We are on page 29 of...
This book is so long!
We're on page 29 of 37.
It's still 8 pages. and when you read it, it sounds like a 40-page book.
Why?
Because the 3 extra pages are all the mistakes you make.
There's no mistakes I'm making. Traditional art. Traditional art is the art that is drawing physically, typically onto a canvas or paper. The benefit of physical art is that by the end of the whole process, you have something that you can actually hold. I know I personally love this sort of thing. Of course, because physical materials are being used, it typically costs a lot more than a typical digital drawing. But that can totally be worth it, just depending on what you're looking for. Yeah, there's no way they can see that. As far as I know, these are the most common types of commissions you'll come across. So this guy isn't like even an expert. He's like as far as I know and stuff like that, you know?
It's like the most unhelpful book I've ever heard someone read or read. I feel like this is like something that I can find out in the Actually, I probably don't even need to look because like this is all common knowledge for the most part.
Now that you know how to describe what type of commission you're looking for, you'll need to reach out to that artist you found earlier. You'll want to describe what you're looking for and ask about prices. I personally have no problem with patience. Hence this book being written in a couple of days, LOL.
Oh my god.
So it's really important not to try to bug the artist too much. They could be busy or maybe are not even taking commissions at the time. Just in case they aren't taking commissions, I'd recommend having a backup artist lined up. (3). Throw in some waiting and that's all there is to it.
Whoa, I know how to buy art now.
A brief fursuit introduction.
Here we go.
I have a confession to make. In my years of being in the fandom, I've mostly only participated in the digital side of furriness. Art, making videos, that sort of stuff. I haven't until relatively recently dabbed in the cosplay aspects of fursuiting. Why did it take so long? I think it's mainly because of the cost of a fursuit. A nice suit can get over $1,000 easy. That might seem like a lot, but when you look at all the materials and how much time and care goes into making a suit, it becomes evident where the money goes. There's a common misconception that all furries are fursuiters. Obviously, you don't need a suit to be a furry. And although this is nothing more than a misconception, I think it sort of made me look into suiting. As a furry, lots of people expect you to dress up. And if you don't, the taboo of being a fursuiter is there, but without actually fursuiting. So you're like missing out. Does that make sense? Basically, I said I might as well try. There's nothing to lose, (3).
Sorry.
So, I got some fat paws, as seen in the previous chapter. And can I just say that I understand why people cosplay as their soda? There's just something about it that I think you have to experience to fully grasp. It makes you feel cute. No.
×3.
And if you're interested in the fandom, I invite you to give some aspect of cosplaying a try. You might as well. Life hacks from Avery. Before we get all wrapped up here with the beginner's guide to the fandom, I thought I'd give you some additional tips from someone who has been a furry for a number of years. And I think we should start with the freaky one. Be careful of spooks. Chances are, every so often you'll come across a mean furry. Often people can lash out at each other over disagreements on certain topics. And I'm not necessarily talking about people who do that. We're talking about people who are repeatedly a jerk. People who seem to have controversy follow them around often. I've always found this strange considering how much of a happy, loving group furries tend to be. For our purpose, I'd categorize these people into two groups. Number one, someone who is a bit of a meanie, may say some hurtful stuff, but when it comes to it, they can mostly just be ignored without too many consequences. Number two, someone who says really bad, really stupid, not cool stuff, to the point that it starts to negatively affect the image of the fandom. With the latter case, furries are often compelled to publicly condemn that second category of person in fear of getting grouped together with them. I know what comes to mind for me. Neo-Nazis. I'm serious. Furries with neo-Nazi ties. It's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. So, keep a lookout for people like that. They are bad. Be chill, have fun. My last piece of advice is to chill and have fun. Be weird, be cute. This book started as a joke, and TBH still is, but at the same time, there is some real truth here. Stay fuzzy and see you on the internet. Less than 3, Avery.